The prices of house are insanely up. Do you really think people can afford the house in today's market?
See, it depends how you look at it. The first house could be challenging, but let me tell you a secret. Suppose you already have one house for $1 million. And your down payment for that house should be 5% if that's your first house. That will be $50,000 that you made down on this house. And your mortgage rate should be approximately, say, close to 5,000. Let's take 5,000 here. That's your paying more per month for this house
After interest.
So if you had this house for 3 years, your total down on this house would be 50,000 plus 5,000 into 12 months into 3 years. That will be 250,000 that you made down on this 1 million house in 3 years, including your down payment. So the people don't get is, don't try to pay off your full house, because it's gonna take you like 50 years to pay at that house. By the time you're gonna be old and nobody knows what's gonna happen in 10, 20, 30 years. It could take you 20 years, 50 years, it depends. So why are you gonna work that much all your rest of your life to just pay off this house? And you don't even know if you're gonna live there by that time. What smart people do is, they'll take this 250,000 that you already paid for this house, and they'll go to their bank and tell the bank, see, I made this much payment on this house. I need some cash from my property for any reason. It could be for business, you have some financial problem, anything. The bank will say, okay, we'll keep this house as a security that they already have, and we'll refinance it. Remember this word, refinance. They'll refinance your house again. But the bank says, we want some security on this house. We're not gonna give you $1 million on this house. We have to have some equity. So usually bank keeps 10%. Just say, it could vary a little bit, 5-10% up and down. That depends how your link is with your bank, how your payments are. But just say typically 10%. The bank says that we're gonna keep 10% of that, and the rest will finance it to you. They could go to 25%. It depends, totally depends on how you interact with the bank. I have seen people going 10%. I've seen people going for 20% too. The bank keeps 20%. It all depends on the market. So, say the bank keeps 10%. They say, okay, we're going to give you the loan for whatever you paid, but we're going to keep the 10% as equity. So, $1 million, 10% is 100,000. The bank said, we're going to keep 100,000 from the amount you already paid, and the rest will refinance it. So the bank will give you $150,000 loan on the house that you paid. But remember, this is the trick. That $150,000 is a loan. That means when you get this money that you paid already, you don't have to pay taxes on it, since it's a loan. And this free money you have in your cash bank. At the end of the year, you don't have to pay any tax on it. It'll show on your liability side. And what you could do with this money then, after this, what smart people do, they'll go to the same bank again, I have 150, and get another property, depending on, I'll show you too how to get a property too, like how to find it. But what smart people do, this 150, they'll go to the bank and say, I want to buy this property, and since it's your second property, I'll put 20% down. You have the cash for the 20% down. You just buy the second property and rent it out. After 3 years, redo all these things, plus your new property too, redo all that, go to your bank, refinance it again, buy next property. After that, after 3 years, buy next. After that, 2 years, 1 year, buy next. After 5-6 years, you'll see your net worth will increase huge. And this is constant. I'm assuming that the market price doesn't go up. If the market price goes up, say your house was valued at $1 million, now it's valued at 150,000. Say, just man, your price went your house price went 50% up. So the bank will give you extra $50,000, $500,000, sorry, from that, since your market price went up for that house. See, back to your question. Buying your first house could be difficult, but let me tell you 1 or 2 tricks or mistakes people do while trying to save their money. See, the first mistake people make is that they focus on the wrong thing. They focus on minimizing their expenses. Now you'll be like, what the hell? Like, you should always minimize your expenses. Yeah, you should, but have you ever seen a rich guy talking about like, oh, I have to minimize my expenses, I'm wasting too much money on this or that? No. I'll tell you why I'm saying that. You could minimize your expenses to some degree. You cannot make your expenses zero. You still have to eat. If you have a car, you still have to pay for your fuel, your insurance, your finance. Even if you don't have a car, you still have to pay for a lot of stuff for your daily basis. What rich people do is they focus on how they can earn more income with the money they have. So, what do I mean by that? So suppose you have saved money, like say $100 only. If you put it in a bank account, the bank hardly gives you any interest on it. So your money is just laying there. Instead of putting that money, your saved money, in your bank account, why don't you just invest it somewhere? Say, I'll give you a few examples. If you want to know more about these examples, I'll talk about it in later videos and explain how you can get into these sections and make really, really good profit. First is crypto. A lot of people you'll see on YouTube and all talking about crypto. What is crypto? It's a digital currency that I'll talk about later that you can invest and make really, really good profit on it. I invest in crypto and I'll show you which cryptocurrency I invest in and how much I invest in and what should you do because crypto fluctuates a lot. So what step you should take in mind so you don't just lose your $100, because that could be really, really easy in crypto market nowadays. The second is dividend fund. Dividend stocks. Dividend stocks are those stocks that pay you dividend. By dividend I mean they'll pay you some percentage of profit that they make for your share. Suppose you buy a $100 share for Apple. Just amusing. $100 of Apple, and they pay say 5% dividend. By 5% that means they pay around $5 per year for that. So your $100 after 1 year will be $105. Where if it was in your bank account, it'll still stay $100. So you made $5 profit as dividend. Then next is day-to-day stock market. So a lot of people, they trade on daily basis on stocks and try to make a little bit tiny percentage on the fluctuation of the stocks on daily basis. I'll get to these details later in my next video, but these are some few ways that you can easily make a little bit more cash, and probably, if you're lucky, a lot more cash, just by these three things and sitting at home. You don't have to go anywhere. You just need a phone, laptop, that's about it. So, what mistakes people do? Don't focus on your expenses, focus on your investment, where you could invest your money. It doesn't matter if it's $100, $5, $10, but start somewhere. You could even start from $1 too, investing.